Konnichiwa and welcome to Bad Accent, the podcast about language, identity, and the messy beauty of how they shape us. I'm Sophia, and in each episode, we explore how multilingual creatives and professionals navigate the world, one accent at a time. In today's episode, we'll be talking about architecture and cultural exchange as a university student. We'll also talk about some good old memories from our time in Lisbon. So grab your coffee or tea and let's get talking.
Konbanwa, boa noite em japonês. I'm João, and today we are super excited to introduce someone very special to us, Nobuki, an architect and urban designer based in Tokyo, Japan. Nobuki has studied public space design and place making in Japan, and architecture and urbanism during his exchange in Portugal. He is now a designer and a planner of commercial facilities, office buildings, and public spaces in Tokyo. He's also recently worked on a really exciting project in Vietnam, designing the exterior of a shopping complex that incorporates traditional Japanese elements. Super cool, Nobuki! Super
Thank
cool
you.
to know this. I'm really excited to hear more.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And before we start the interview, I just wanted to give our audience a bit of context. And actually, João met Nobuki when they were both students, university students in Lisbon. And they also shared a tiny university room. And somewhat, you guys managed to survive it.
So,
And then I visited João that summer in Lisbon. And then, of course, I met you, Nobuki. And then when I visited Tokyo in 2023, we also hung out, and you were an amazing tour guide. And it was such a wonderful experience to explore your beautiful city. So we're super excited to have you today on the podcast. Thank you so much for being
yes,
here.
Yeah, thank you
yes,
for inviting me.
you are welcome, Nobuki. You are more than welcome to our things, to our experiments. But first, we want to know, like, actually what you are doing currently, like, I mean, professionally.
Yes, but it's more like a special designer. Architect is
Mhm.
more kind of more like technical uh, professional. So
Yeah.
my career has changed a little bit. My career has
Okay.
started as architect at the construction company, but now I'm doing more like designing public spaces, or especially now commercial facility is my work.
Somehow a new direction for you, like to explore new fields also.
Mhm.
And I
A
think it's,
new a transition, right?
yes,
Yes.
From
actually, I was when we were doing the script, and I asked you to give a small brief, like the main information about you. When you mentioned there, like designer, planner, or designer, something, I was like, oh, cool. Like we are both thinking, like, we all think, but as a designer is always a bit, yeah, in the same direction, let's say.
Mhm.
But good. Okay.
yeah, Nobuki. And as you mentioned, this transition, have you worked on any project recently that excited you? That something that you know that you felt, oh wow, okay, I love what I'm doing. This is what I'm meant to be doing.
Um, as Joanna explained that Vietnam project, that was my first experience that I did this project at the foreign country, because until that I usually do the project in Japan. So not a little bit. I was excited to do the Vietnam project, especially because the thinking of especially landowner obviously different things. That's why the landowner at the Vietnam project liked the design of kind of traditional Japanese element exterior.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you incorporated part of Japanese traditional architecture for a complex project in Vietnam.
Yes, I incorporate some the traditional pattern of the uh, Japanese traditional pattern. Like I incorporate the Japanese lighting into the exterior design. So
Wow, okay. That's super interesting. It's kind of like tradition meets modernity, right?
Because the next question is a bit related to that, because you were saying that you had the mission to bring these elements to a Vietnamese project,
mhm.
like that you had to bring this Japanese somehow culture and element. And
um, I'm doing a planning master plan of the shopping facility or do more like making concepts, how to put the buildings to encourage people communicate more. I also do the shared space design in especially interior design of the shopping facility. I have to think about how people act at the place by my designing.
which is somehow connected to what you took out in your studies in Lisbon, the urbanism and public space, right? The importance, how the people interact with public spaces, and how the architecture shape us and how we
Mhm.
shape the architecture.
It was good for me to stay in Lisbon because there is a lot of type of public space, like the viewpoint. There is a park. People can sit at the bench. There is also terrace seating at the restaurant on the street. That is kind of difficult to find here in Japan. So that was
Ah,
good experience for me.
And when you work in international projects, such as the Vietnam project you just mentioned, do you need somehow to adapt your working methods or your way of thinking due to different cultural contexts? For example, do you feel like maybe, of course, you need to adapt to what the client is asking and what they're looking for in their project, but in terms of cultural context, I mean, it's a different culture, a different country. Do you feel like that plays an important role?
Actually, the client is the shopping center developer. So
okay.
I am not directly landowner. I do working with the Japanese
Mm.
developer. So there is
Yeah.
not big difference in my way to do the project. The way the people use the shopping center is different from in Japan. They
Mhm.
use more bikes to come to the building, and also they
Mm.
love yes, like here in Japan, we have to think about how to make car parking area. But in Vietnam, we also have to think about bike parking area. That was the big difference. They also like to stay outside. I have to make outside seating gathering area. There is some different way to make a space.
And when, for example, Notebook, you were making this decision about putting benches outside, you had to do all this decision alone or with your colleagues? It was something that you just had to plan?
Actually, I have a senior colleague which he helped me a lot.
Okay.
So he gave a lot of advices. There's no
Ah.
difficulty to do the project.
And does your company like they only speak Japanese? They switch if needed to English? How is the atmosphere?
Mostly in Japanese. Some people has which who has experience staying abroad project can speak the language there. But yeah, I have to say that Japanese is the main language in the company.
Do you felt that at some point the fact that you were able to speak English, that you were in a position to for more professionals opportunities, even outside of the company or even inside of the company for some projects, for example?
Yeah, I can say that there is more opportunity to have English availability, but I think it's not the necessity skills to be in the company.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, you had this senior colleague that helped you with the development and the design of the project in Vietnam. We were wondering, how do you go on about your research process? Do you normally look for design or architecture concepts in English or in Japanese? And if it's in Japanese, for example, is it tricky to translate it between Japanese and English? In the case of, the Vietnam project, I'm assuming maybe some of the directions were in English, or how did you do this?
Basically in Japanese, but I do some research and found the article of in English. Yeah, I can read that in English. So yeah, basically in Japanese. But
And then for the Vietnam project, for example, how did you guys manage you translated from Japanese, or how was to explain the project and the briefing and all of that? Was that done in English or in Japanese, or did you guys use a translator for that?
in that project, there is only Japanese people in my area, so I don't need to use any other languages. Sometimes I have to read the document which is explaining what's the land situations or conditions. Sometimes in English, but usually in Japanese.
Now we want to, dive a little bit more into Japanese culture and multilingualism. And we were wondering, from your point of view, do you feel that English or any other languages are viewed differently when, speaking purely about architecture and design in
Ah,
Japan,
okay.
for example? Do you feel like that would shape design?
Yeah, spatial design is always connected to the traditional placemaking method. There is sometimes it is difficult in English to explain about Japanese architecture, but when you go to the architectural museum, usually there is English document there, but they use Japanese words and explaining sentences after that.
And for example, now Yunobuki has a Japanese. You consider that Japan has a country has this vibe of for multiculturalism and where people speaks multiple language, or not really?
It depends. Like
Depends.
basically Japanese people getting more on to Japanese inside. On the other hand, the most of companies trying explore their area to abroad countries. So the way of thinking of the normal people and companies people has like a opposite way of for the opening the thinking. Yes.
If I good understood, you are saying that on the companies are open more the market. Is that looking maybe for this multilingualism competences on the workers, let's say? Is that?
The Japan economy is declining. Yeah, we have to open to the other countries.
That's super interesting. Yeah. For you, did you did you start learning English in school, or was it something that came up to you like, oh, I know I have to learn this? How did you start?
I started my English at the school, junior high school. Actually, that time I didn't expect that like go to abroad as an exchange student, but somehow when I was in high school, I found that when you do studying English, when you do studying English more, you can get more skills. So found that it's kind of fun to learn that. So that's why I was keep studying English.
Mhm. And this is something that when you say you found, was it through maybe school activities, or how was it that English could give you these opportunities?
It's just like learning English and do some exam. Like I got some high score of English exam, and oh, that's good. Okay, I can. I
Okay.
so that's kind of
Yeah,
thing.
congratulations.
Thank you.
How old were you?
In high school, yeah, I found that it was fun to study English because I could get a high score in English exam.
Interesting. But Nobuki, I would like now to go a little bit back on the time that we passed somehow together in more in Lisbon, because where we met. Um, do you still remember your first impression of Lisbon?
It was it was my first time go out Japan. So everything is like new to me. First impression of Lisbon is the traditional architecture at the city center was so beautiful. I love the boulevard of the main street with high trees and a lot of cafe or like hotels on the street, and that was nice experience.
So before you arrived in Lisbon, you might have landed somewhere else in Europe,
Oh
right?
yes, yes. I landed at Munich airport. Everyone was so like high. I mean,
Yeah.
tall. Yeah, taller than
Yeah.
me. So, but
Uh-huh.
when I arrived at Lisbon, it's more comfortable for me.
Yeah. Ah, good to know.
Yeah. Portuguese people aren't as tall as Germans in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they are eating, but yeah.
Yeah. We didn't have the same food.
Mm,
Yeah.
So let's talk about the real story here, Nobuki. What do you
okay.
think?
Ooh.
Well, story.
Yeah, because I might say that, like, when you were having, when I discovered that my roommate was Japanese, I was like, I have to be really sincere. I was a bit freaking out because I was not comfortable with English, and there would be my first experience with a foreigner, and I was like, oh my god, what's coming, what's coming? And when
Yeah.
I saw you, it was, I freaked out a bit, but it was okay. I mean, I could hold it a bit. Yeah. And yeah, and there I wanted to ask you somehow, how did we met? What were your expectations about living with this random Portuguese guy? Like, yeah,
Yeah, it was like,
can be honest,
I,
okay?
I was also, yeah, no, no, yeah,
No
I,
filter, no filter.
I was also like nervous because you foreigner, but it was my first time to living with somebody except my family, so I cannot imagine what will be happening.
And I can imagine that was also somehow the first time that you have might shared your private space. Let's say that's a big impact
Exactly.
as a
Very
Japanese, I
intimate.
guess.
Yeah.
I think we were not like a good friend at first time, But
Mm.
eventually, we maybe because of the some conversation experiences, we getting know each other,
Mm.
and now we are friends, right?
Yeah, of course, Nobuki. Yeah.
And that's so I mean, obviously I've never had that experience too. I've lived in university residency, but I didn't share rooms.
Mm,
And that was an experience that wanted to avoid. I didn't want to
mm,
share rooms with anyone. I do not know how that feels because, of course, like as João said, it's very intimate. Of course, you're sleeping in the same room. It's everything in the same room. So, of course,
Mm.
you have separate beds and all of that. But I mean, it's kind of crazy, because it really bonds you with the other person. It really creates this sense of kind of not boundaries, but you need to also set the boundaries to respect each other's space and rituals. And
Mm.
thankfully, you guys really got along, and of course, you have this beautiful friendship. And this question goes to both of you.
Right.
How did you manage to connect or set these boundaries, to just get along?
Go first, Nobuki.
ah, at the Lisbon's room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, maybe not. I think we didn't make any like a boundary, like making lines, or there is a plenty room for two people living. So I think it was no difficulty to share the room, I think.
Exactly. I think we didn't really make any rules or any. Actually, we were very flexible with each other, and I think it was we gave time to each other, and I think we understood who we were. Looking back at the time, I don't really remember to make kind of an agreement with Nobuki. Yeah, Nobuki, I'm like that. I'm work like that. I need the room in this way. No.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happened naturally for you both,
Yeah,
I
I think
guess.
when you are sharing your room, it's like being flexible. Yeah, and that's the spirit of living in a residence university. Also, is that
Ah,
you have your colleagues, your other roommates next to you. In any time, they can interfere with your private space.
yeah,
But yeah, we were. I think we were flexible with each other.
yeah, it's because of yeah, you said that it was university residence, so we are sharing the mind of we are in the same situation, so we are the team somehow.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
Great.
you found common sense within,
Mm,
and that's super interesting because, of course, from your culture, you respect other people's space and intimacy, and sometimes in Portugal we don't always do that. What are some habits or costumes, now that we're talking more a bit, these type of things, respecting other people's space and their boundaries and the way they see the world and how they act? Were there any habits or costumes in Portugal that you adopted or that maybe you found strange at first when you got there?
I can't remember.
For example, didn't you find that we Portuguese we are somehow less organized than Japanese people,
Ah,
for example, or that maybe Lisbon you were mentioning about you love the architecture in Lisbon. Don't you think that we are a bit more chaotic than in Japan, for example?
yeah. I think there is not so much rules at the residence, so
And for example, Nobuki, like when you were in your daily life, because you were always communicating in English, right?
mm,
Is there a moment that you felt totally uh, misunderstood?
I think I was understanding at first 60% of the meaning of in the conversation, and the end of exchange student period, I could understand 80% of the conversation. Even now, I cannot like fully understand the English. Portuguese English pronunciation is easier to understand because of the way of, I forgot the word, way of
Yeah, the way
speaking.
of speaking.
And Nobuki, do you feel like your friendship, well, mostly with João because you spend most time with him, help you shape your experience there?
Ah, yes. Yeah, he knows a lot of things in Lisbon because he was living there. How many years you were in Lisbon, Joao?
Yeah, was when you arrived, I was already around 4 years living there,
Mm.
actually.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He gives me a lot of information, and sometimes we went out with friends. It was,
mm.
yeah, you helped me a lot to living there.
Oh, that's really nice to hear.
That's so
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And you guys actually traveled in Portugal. You went to
yeah,
Madeira.
yes.
We all three met in Madeira as well.
Yeah,
It was pretty
yeah.
crazy. Like, it was super cool.
Mhm.
Um, did you guys go somewhere else besides Madeira?
Um, Answer, Nobuki.
We went we went to Azores with another friend at the residence, and also Porto,
Yeah, a city in the north
city in the
called
north.
Barcelos, I guess.
The memories are coming back.
Yes, because we went to Porto and then we took a train to
Yeah,
Barcelos.
yes.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And I just want to mention this that Nobuki ate arepas in the university residence. I don't know if you remember this. As a half Venezuelan, half Portuguese, I just had to mention if we have any other Venezuelan listeners, Japanese person trying arepas in Portugal. I mean, how cool is that? There
Do
is
you remember
our
that, Nobuki?
multiculturalism.
Not really.
Sorry.
It's okay, Nobuki.
What
Yeah,
is?
no pressure, no pressure.
Sorry, I'm
We're
so
gonna have to make some.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
remember
okay.
really vague. I remember the people that were there.
It's a
Yeah.
Venezuelan dish. Yeah. And actually, João made it. João from Madeira.
Yeah.
Um, but in Madeira, people eat as well arepas. Anyways, I just wanted to add that because I think that's also part of our podcast, like this kind of melting pot of different
Mm,
cultures, languages,
Yeah.
and learning experiences. It's pretty wild how you guys met, and after all these years we're able to reconnect.
mm.
And how do you feel knowing that you were in Lisbon and you experienced all of that? Do you feel like that influenced who you are today?
Because of the experiences changed me a lot. I think without that experiences, I am not the people now. The experience is huge part of me. Lisbon is my second home. So because yeah, we have a lot of memories there. Only 1 year, but the experiences there was that I cannot expect any other area.
So you are
That's,
saying that it's an unrepeatable experience, let's say,
mm.
frozen in the time. Yeah, this question is very interesting. Is there something in your Japanese culture learned from Portuguese cultures that you adopted somehow?
I think I don't have that kind of
Okay.
habit, but way of thinking, I totally influenced by Portuguese culture. Portuguese people take care their families a lot and also show the emotion more. Yeah, they take care for another people sincerely, not just as just a manner. They do that from their heart. I do the things with that heart in Japan nowadays also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
heart
that's
and passion.
yeah.
Passion.
Yeah. And just circling back to your work and all that we've, talked about so far. Now that you've lived in Lisbon, you've seen the public spaces and the city life there. You live in a really big city, which is Tokyo, and do you feel like maybe each culture sees public spaces
Hmm.
and city life differently, or maybe you see some similarities?
It's very different in other Asian countries and also in Europe also. Public space is more open to the people who living there. They can do what they want to do at the public spaces. Here in Japan, public space and private spaces is not annoying other people. So that's the big differences.
So you somehow you know how to behave in public. You kind of also respect the place you are, like you are caring about where you are and
The way of respecting is like a different direction.
because
In Japan, it's
Yeah.
like not to do anything is the respect. For example, in Europe, do something is like a respect. So that's I
Mhm.
think different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I went, I mean it's so crazy, like everything is so clean, so organized, so structured, which is very different from big cities here in Europe, for example, and how everything is so kind of quiet at the same time. I mean, you're in the metro and you just hear the noise of the engines, but you don't hear the noise from the
Yeah,
people, which is very respectful. And just as you said, maybe you think first of the other person instead of you putting yourself first and then thinking of this common ground where I'm not going to bother the other person because I don't want to be bothered either.
yeah, that's the
And
yeah.
mhm, yeah, and that was
Mhm.
kind of a culture shock moment for me. Just yeah, just for example, the metro experience, super clean, super organized, and super quiet, and it's kind of nice because sometimes when you're in the metro, it's rush hour or whatever, and you got off of work and you're tired, you're going home, and you hear all these people talking, making noise or screaming, and just being just having that experience of being in a public transportation where everything is so quiet. And I really like that respect of space, respecting other people's space, and just the noise in general.
You also like the culture of Japan, like you I remember that you one time you told me that you want to live there somehow.
Yeah, for sure. That's an experience that I would love to have someday. Maybe not in a so uh, far future. So maybe soon. Who knows? I mean,
Oh,
Nobuki said that the companies are opening up. So
yes.
Mhm.
definitely, this is something that I've been that my wife and we've been
Mm.
looking into maybe in the future. Living there, we love Japan and we want to explore more of the country and get to know
Mhm.
more of your culture and your language, which is super beautiful and interesting.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah,
Yeah.
Nobuki, we are kind of arriving at the end, but I would like to know some other things. So Nobuki, yeah, you've live abroad, like Portugal, south of Europe, like close to the sea, and you kind of have this backpack on you with the experience, and we wanted you to give advice to someone um, that are, I don't know, currently looking to study or to work abroad for the first time. What would be the main tip, suggestion
Hmm.
that you would give directly?
Yeah, first thing you have to accept everything there. You don't thinking in the way you are in your home country. You have to change the way of thinking. After that, you can understand what they are thinking. You can communicate the local people. So that's the tips from me.
Okay,
Good.
thank you for that. Finally, we'd like to end our podcast with what's one story, joke, or proverb in Japanese that you wish the whole world could understand.
Oh, I didn't expect a joke.
A joke, or just
Yeah,
maybe a phrase or a word
A
that
word.
uh, that you love from your language, and sometimes and you want people to know this word or
Okay. In my country, there is one phrase is when you enter into the izakaya bar restaurant, you have to order one drink at first. And
okay.
if you want to order beer, usually all people order beer at first. But there is one phrase, 生お願いします. And that restaurant staff brings a joke of beer. So you don't have
Okay.
any difficulty to order at first.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Can you pronounce that again, Nobuki, please?
生一つお願いします.
Okay. We'll know it for the next izakaya trip.
Yeah,
Oh
you should
wow.
know.
Interesting.
Thank you so much, Nobuki.
Thank
Arigato
you so much.
gozaimasu
ありがとうござ
for,
います。
sharing your story, your memories with us, for taking the time to opening up and really, of course, keep this friendship going. I'm so happy that, the three of us were still connected and that we care for our friendship after all these years and that we're still in contact.
Yes, it's always, I feel always really good also when I'm exchanging something with you, Nobuki. I really feel that you are an easygoing person. Like, I consider that you are a special Japanese that I know, and that makes me really proud. And I feel that I'm always like learning something new yeah, with you. Yeah, and it's a pleasure to do this podcast. That's why I wanted to do. I felt that the need. So thank you
Yeah.
very much for your time, Nobuki.
Thank you very much. I hope, yeah, we can meet at
Of
somewhere
course.
like in Japan or in Belgium or in France. Yeah, I hope to meet you guys again to real time.
We
Real.
Definitely.
will.
Yeah, we should organize this trip, this reunion.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
And to our listeners, thank you for being here. You can follow Nobuki's amazing work on his Instagram. He actually has really beautiful photography. So just access it on the link on the description of this episode. And if you like this talk, please make sure to follow us, leave us a review, and of course, share it with your international bestie.
Sayonara, and até a próxima. See you next time, guys.
Sayonara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sayonara. If you enjoyed this conversation, follow Bad Accent on Instagram and LinkedIn for more multilingual stories. And remember, own your voice, celebrate your accent. Until next time.